Hello and good evening. Today it's Monday, April 17th, 2023. This NHL Expansion mini-series that I have been uploading here to YouTube was supposed to be a two-part mini-series, but since the second part of it would have been 30 minutes of me talking without visuals, what I elected to do is I elected to take the second part of this mini-series, split it into two separate parts, and turn this into a three-part series instead, so that you're not listening to one really long, dragged-out 30-minute video without visuals. So with that, I hope you enjoy the third and final part of my mini-series discussing recent rumors about the National Hockey League expanding beyond the 32 teams that it is at now. So with that, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video that I want to cover. So if this rumor is credible and it actually becomes reality, this is a what-if scenario, at least right now, where, okay, they put a team in Houston, they put yet another team in Atlanta, and they expand to Atlanta again and give Houston their first crack at NHL hockey. Well, where could the other two potential spots go? Quebec City has an arena. I mean, by the sounds of things, nobody's being relocated to Quebec. But if the National Hockey League can successfully get arenas in Houston and Atlanta, if they can make the Toyota Center NHL ready and a long-term home for an NHL team, then bam, you've got a team in Houston. If they get this new arena built in Alpharetta that they're talking about, then boom, you've got a second spot for expansion. They know Quebec City wants a team. They know that basically our entire country here in Canada wants Quebec City to get a team. I know I do. They deserve it. They have great fan support. Are they a smaller market? Yes. But hey, look at the city of Winnipeg. Look at how well they've done since they've been back in the NHL. Nothing but sellouts. I mean, if the NHL can work in Winnipeg in the 21st century in 2023, why can't Quebec City work? They would do really well. I guarantee it. They have an NHL ready arena ready to go. So bam. So if they've got teams in Houston and Atlanta, there's your team number 35 in Quebec. But where would a 36th team go? Now you've got the Pacific Division missing a team. I mean, I did read something about what if there was a group in Kansas City that wanted to put a team in the T-Mobile Center there in Kansas City. Well, even though Don Cherry once said that Kansas City was a graveyard for hockey when he was coaching in the NHL, when the Scouts had their short-lived tenure in the NHL before they moved to Colorado and then ultimately became the New Jersey Devils in the early 80s, where they've been ever since. I mean, could they try a Kansas City team again if there was a potential ownership group? Possibly. But I think one place that would do well with an NHL team on the West Coast would be Portland, Oregon. They have the Portland Winterhawks. I do believe they play in the same arena as the Portland Trailblazers in the NBA. I'm sure the NHL would want a new NHL arena built in Portland if they got a team, but I've heard that supposedly the Portland Winterhawks have always had good fan support and some of the best attendance numbers in the Western Hockey League, which is junior hockey and part of the Canadian Hockey League for anybody who doesn't know. And if Portland had an NHL team, they would have an instant Cascadia rivalry with the Seattle Kraken and the Vancouver Canucks. And, I mean, I'm sure their rivalry would be as good as the rivalry amongst the three Cascadia MLS teams in Major League Soccer. The Vancouver Whitecaps, the Seattle Sounders, and the Portland Timbers. They have a Cascadia rivalry, and they even have the Cascadia Cup, which is awarded to the team out of the three with the best record. And I believe that's awarded to the team with the best record amongst playing the games amongst those three teams exclusively. Now, I could be wrong on that, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But, I've seen the rivalry between the Timbers, the Sounders, and the Whitecaps in Major League Soccer. And I think you could have they've already got an instant rivalry between the Kraken and Canucks, and it's already a good rivalry. And it will get better as years go on. So if they added Portland to the mix, I'm sure that rivalry would even get better and more passionate, more heated, more exciting to watch. So what I'm saying is, to basically get to the point, if they expand to 34, I think they would expand to 34 with a long-term aim to then expand to 36. And that's something that I'm a little bit skeptical about with this rumor, is because you're going to have an uneven amount of teams per division in the league, where right now you have a wonderful balance of 8 teams in each division. Where if you add a team in Houston and a team in Atlanta, where it's been rumored recently, now you've got 2 divisions with 9 teams and the other 2 with the 8 that they're at now. So what do you got to do then? What, are you going to leave 2 divisions now with 9 teams and 2 divisions with the current 8? No, I think they would then want to expand it to make sure that each division had an even amount of teams again, which, to get from having an even amount of divisions at 8 teams apiece to 9 teams apiece, the National Hockey League would have to add 4 additional franchises on top of what they've got now. So if they expanded to 36 teams, that would make sense. And if it gives Quebec City an NHL franchise again, finally, now that they've got an NHL-ready arena to play in, then I'm all for it. But that's another thing. The idea of Atlanta getting a third chance at NHL hockey while Quebec City has an NHL arena, a rabid fan base that's starving for NHL hockey, and they don't get another chance. But a place like Atlanta that's failed twice with NHL hockey, I understand why. I get that they have a better potential TV market and a bigger population. That's a fact. And it would make the NHL's TV deals more juicy. It would make them potentially more valuable and give the NHL more money, and have a TV provider like, say, for example, let's use ESPN. It might make them want to spend even more money next time to renew their TV deal, thinking, hey, we've got teams in Atlanta and Houston and Portland now. And I'm just throwing Portland in as an example, where, wow, these are 3 extra big TV markets for ad revenues and watching commercials and all that. Yes, we'll pay an extra $50 million a year, for example, or $100 million a year for TV rights. We want that deal. It's lucrative. I could see it. I understand why the NHL wants to keep teams in places like Arizona too, for the TV market potentially. But what good is that market if your arenas aren't being filled and your TV numbers really haven't been that great? I'm sorry to be a cynic to you folks who live in Atlanta or Arizona, but I'm just saying, if there was an NHL team in Quebec City, yeah, their TV market's small. Yeah, their fan base is small too, but they're passionate, they're loyal, and their building would be full every night. And, that's something that bugs me about this rumor a little bit too, because I think Quebec City should have another shot at hockey. Now, another thing as well that I don't like about this rumor is that, there are at least a couple of NHL teams right now that struggle with attendance, that struggle with fan support. The biggest problem for the NHL right now is the Arizona Coyotes, which I do think they're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel for their problems. I do think this arena vote will go through in Tempe. Once that's done, that's probably going to be one less team for the NHL to worry about for decades to come. They're probably going to have a clause where they don't let the team relocate for at least 30 years or whatever. I've heard that. It could, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But then also, I've watched games with the Florida Panthers, and even when the team's doing good, their arena's like half full, and they have so many empty seats. Where if they were playing in Quebec, their crowds would be nuts. Even if the team sucked, the place would be full. And I just think that right now, at least in my opinion, there are NHL cities that are struggling now already. And what, you want to add 2 additional cities? And one of them's to a place that had horrific NHL attendance, had terrible attendance before they moved to Winnipeg. Now, I mean, I understand why the Thrashers had attendance issues. Their ownership group wasn't as invested in the team as they should have been. I agree with urinating tree and the hockey guy on that. But still, I just, as I say, I'm a little bit skeptical about the whole idea of a third stint of NHL hockey in Atlanta. I'm also skeptical about the idea of adding 2 additional teams to the NHL when they've got teams right now that are struggling. I mean, there's no guarantee the arena deal is going to work for the Coyotes in Tempe. Even though, as I say, I'm 95% sure it's going to work out. The NHL has put way too much time and money into keeping the Coyotes in Arizona. I do not believe for a second that they're going to let this fall through. I think this is all it needs is a vote, and that's it. I think it's basically unofficially a done deal. They're going to Tempe, the arena will be built, and the Coyotes are not going to be a relocation discussion ever again for the foreseeable for decades to come. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. I think the NHL is way too invested into the Coyotes. They don't want to throw all that money away for nothing, which I can appreciate it. I don't blame them. I really don't. Now, am I skeptical about Arizona working long term? Yes. But if they do get this arena built in Tempe, who knows? Hopefully they can prove me wrong. I hope that if it does work out, hopefully the team will be a success story. I mean, that would be nice. But yeah, anything else I wanted to add? Oh yeah, another thing. Diluting the player talent pools. I think there's enough interest in hockey. You can have 36, you could have as many as 34 to 36 teams and still have pretty good team parity. And you know what? It would give more opportunities for more great players around the world to play in the NHL too. And I think there's enough good players in the world when it comes to hockey that they could fill rosters for 4 more teams, and I think it'd be fine. I do. But for this to work, I mean, right now, remember, this is nothing but a spicy rumor. I mean, it's something that's spicy because it gets people talking. I mean, to think, hey, after the NHL's been so happy to finally get to 32 teams, 8 teams in each division, a wonderful alignment, perfect balanced schedules and everything, and what, they want to expand to 34? It's like, wait, what? That's insane. It's a spicy topic. It generates a lot of discussion. But, at this point in time, I don't think it's a short-term goal. I think it's something that if it does happen, it's something that'll happen not for a long time yet. And besides, Houston's not going to be discussed as an expansion city until they can fully bring the relocation rumors around the Coyotes to a complete close, which I think they will. But until then, Houston is still in play as a place for the Coyotes to go if it doesn't work out. That's for sure. Now, if that does happen and they do move to Houston, I do think the expansion discussions would get shut down pretty quickly. I mean, unless there was a Kansas City ownership group and a Portland ownership group, and then there was an arena built by the expressed potential ownership interest in Atlanta and Quebec City, then you could make that work. But that's a whole lot of what ifs. So, yeah. But anyways, I've been talking for about a half an hour now. If you're still following, I mean, feel free to comment down below. Good thing I made this into a two-parter, eh? I probably could have even made this into a third-parter, but I'm not going to bother. So, if it was a little bit too long, well, I apologize, but I'm not breaking this into 3 parts. Well, actually, I might. Let's see. I could break it into 3 parts on my iPhone here. I do have that ability now. I could edit it, but I don't think I'm going to bother. But who knows? I might have a change of heart, but we'll see. But anyways, feel free to leave some comments down below. Do you agree with anything I'm saying? Do you disagree with me? Do you think anything I'm saying makes sense? Or if there's anything I'm wrong about, feel free to correct me, as I said in my last video. So with that, guys, especially to my viewer, Donnell, thank you for requesting that idea. I hope you guys did enjoy it if you decided to sit through it and listen all the way through. And until my next video, as always, guys, take care. And as always, bye for now.